This guy continues to do things crazier and crazier. Victor Wembanyama puts himself in all-time elite company with his explosive, massive game in a win over the Sacramento Kings. We're going to break down here what company he just joined and why this is so important here on Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. And we appreciate all of the growth that has been shown this year so far. The Spurs season has been up and down, but the loyalty to Spurs Digest has not been. But if you haven't to this point, take a spur of the moment to get every Spurs moment moving forward. Join me, Josh, Brian, and everybody else here at Spurs Digest. We appreciate all of you guys greatly. But Victor Wembanyama enters elite company through 82 games of his NBA career. 34 points, 14 rebounds. Brian just highlighted this in one of his post-game videos. Great job with it. 6 assists, 3 blocks, especially that 360 insane block he had on Domantas Sabonis in the paint where Sabonis thought he had him, but when you're an alien, things like that just don't happen to aliens. And a 20-point blowout win against the Sacramento Kings. And you had, with this outstanding performance, Wemby reaches notches of over 1,700 points, over 800 rebounds, and over 300 assists in his first 82 games, a full NBA season. That joins the likes of Oscar Robertson, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players we've ever seen, top 15. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, top 3 player to ever play the game. Larry Bird, top 10 player to ever play the game. Blake Griffin, who came out and was an amazing pro to start. Obviously, injuries got to him, but he was able, and a lot of injuries got to him when he was in the Clippers there. That Clippers run really got stymied because of that. And then Sidney Wicks, if you don't know who that is, a Portland Trailblazer, ended up getting a championship with Larry Bird. I believe in his final season, Larry Bird ended up winning the championship there. That was when Cornbread Maxwell was MVP, Bird's first championship. But he was a Blazer, and he was really good to start off. If you don't know anything about Sidney Wicks, he was good. But he joins an elite group of people who have put up this feat over the first 82 games of his career. And a lot of it comes down to do with his work ethic. And Chris Paul spoke on that. He said, I wish you guys could see the work that goes in and day out. You know how talented he is, but his will to want to get better, his will to want to work on things, the more games we play, I think we all will get more and more familiar with each other. He's just talking about the inherent want to be amazing. Wemby wants to put the league on notice. He wants everybody to know he's coming for them. He's only 20 years old, and this guy is showcasing veteran-like leadership, veteran-like commitment to excellence, and a veteran-like confidence on the court, regardless of if he's missing shots, making shots. He is confident in what he does. I think there are times where his game needs to be more refined. He needs to get down maybe to the basket a little bit more and exploit some of the mismatches that he has. He's been taking much better threes, which is why the three-point percentage has been up. We'll dip into that here in just a second. But sometimes his shot choices are not the greatest, but again, he is not even 21 years old yet, and he is still dominating the league at a top 15 bar none player in it. So shout out to Victor Wembanyama for this feat. I mean, he was obviously the Rookie of the Year last year. He averaged 21, 10, and 4 with 4 assists and about almost 4 blocks last year in 71 games. This year, his numbers are slightly down from that, which we'll show in a second here, but Wemby, 24, 16, 7 blocks, 111-110 loss against the Utah Jazz on Saturday. He set a career high in 3-pointers made with 6. He went 6 of 9 at a great 67% clip. You can live with all of that. And then he had his third game of 20, 10, 5 blocks, 5 threes, passing Porzingis, who had 2 of such things. Obviously, we saw Wemby this year. He had a 5-by-5 game, which is 5 points, rebounds, blocks, assists, and steals. He had multiple of those, and he joins an elite company. It's like him, Hakeem Olajuwon, AK-47, Andre Karolinko, and a couple others others who have been in that group to get multiple 5x5 games. So he's done it already. Hakeem has 6. He did it in over 1,200 games. Wemby just finished game 82, and he's already done it twice. So, I mean, the pace is there to get double digit of that, which is insane to think that that's even on the board for somebody. But for someone of his alienistic capabilities, it's always going to be on the floor. And speaking of Victor Wembanyama, he spoke about his three-point shooting because he's been 14 for 27 over his last 3 games. And right after the game, reporter had asked him about the shots and about if he was feeling more comfortable from the 3. He said, I think I'm just taking better threes. He's not rushing it. It's not just the early shot clock logo because I'm open, I got to take it. He's taking them within the rhythm of the offense, within the rhythm of his game. He says, and also from that, he says, I'm 20. I hope that for some years it's going to keep feeling better and better. And if his three-point shot can get up to around 38 to 40%, which will be tough. 36 would really be where you were hoping for. It's going to be scary. Obviously, it was 21-10 with about 3.5 blocks last year with about a steal and a half. He's right around those numbers again. Rebounds are about the same. Points are a little underneath. Field goal percentage and three-point percentage are near what he was last year. And this was with a very tough start to the season. He was very inconsistent, but he is showing now that as he is progressing and as he's getting into it and as he's taking better shots and the team is getting more accustomed to him, he's getting more accustomed to the team, that he is truly taking steps into being that next level top 10 player, which we thought that he would end up being by the end of the season. We know the talent's top 5. That's easy. 7'4", 7'5", with a handle, with a jumper, able to bring the ball up the floor. He has eyes. He has the vision. There's nothing that he can't do on a court. He just needs to gain the size, the knowledge, and then gain the IQ from the basketball gods and from Chris Paul himself, point god. All of that being said, he is going to continue to grow and mature at an elite level. Obviously, he was started off the season throw 14 to last 27, as I said, but the other thing I do want to point out here was this was a big win for the San Antonio Spurs. They were coming off a tough Jazz loss. That's a Jazz team that's not going to be good. They're going to be competing for a top 1 pick in Cooper Flag this season. But a 20-point win against DeMar DeRozan and the Sacramento Kings, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, that's a good Sacramento Kings team there that is going to be competing for the playoffs. They are going to be competing for a top 6 seed in the Western Conference, and you didn't just beat them, you beat them in every quarter but the first quarter. They lost the first quarter by 4, but other than that, 38 points in the second, 24 in the third, but you also showed the defense of holding a team to 16, and then you showed the 32 again. You had Wemby, who had 34. They on the team, the whole entire team made 22 threes, which is a Spurs record. Their biggest lead was 20, which is what they ended the game with. They showed that they finished this game. A lot of games they have been up this season, but this one they actually brought and they finished. And 22 threes, season high, beating their season high from the Utah game on Saturday. And what does that mean? That means that over the last 2 games, it's been 38 threes, and they're shooting them at a high clip. This team has the ability to make threes. Julian Champagnie is a good 3-point shooter. Stephon Castle is starting to get there. Obviously, it's going to go up and down with him as a rookie. He is really working on that shot. Chris Paul's always been a good 3-point shooter. Harrison Barnes has always been a quality 3-point shooter. You've got Victor Wembanyama, he is streaky at times, but he is a good 3-point shooter. Of course, he's got range, he's got the form, he's got everything. He's just streaky because of the shot choices. You've got Malachi Branham, he can get hot when needed to be. You've got, obviously, Mamu, he can shoot. It's just when he plays. And then you've got the guy who I want to talk about here for just a second, and that is Devin Vassell. Welcome back. He is over 50% from 3. He made 3 threes last game. He made 3 threes the game before. He's off the bench playing 21, 22 minutes a game, and he is showcasing how vital of a piece he is to this roster. The ability to create off the bounce, the ability to get your own shot, the shooting prowess, the scoring prowess from a guard on the wing from this guy is what's going to make this team go from being inconsistent and about a below 500 team to a consistent team that can easily be above 500. And when Jeremy Sochan comes back, we already saw how he was playing. He was playing sound, quality basketball, great defensively, offensively, knowing exactly how his role is, to the point where some Spurs fans were saying he is the best player on this roster. They understand Wemby's the most talented, but as of right now, fans have said, even in this Spurs Digest group chat in like the bottom in the YouTube comments, that he is the best player in Sochan. So if you're missing your second best or third best player at worst, this team is only looking up from here. And I understand things are tough in the Western Conference, but you've got the Lakers. They're missing Anthony Davis. He got poked in the eye, and it's Anthony Davis. He stays injured. And LeBron James is 39, turning 40 here in a month and a half. Going to be interesting. The Grizzlies are still finding their way. Obviously, Ja's working his way back, and he's been injured multiple times, or he's been injured for multiple games this season. You've got the Rockets who are up higher, but the Rockets at the moment, they're a beatable team. We've beat the Rockets. They've beat us this season. Obviously, we played them like 4 times, including the preseason in like a 3-week span. But the thing with the Spurs is they can compete with all of the good teams in the Western Conference. The things that they need to do is take care of the little things. The games against the Jazz, they can't lose those ones, especially for seeding. And now that you're getting Vassell back, you're going to be getting Sochan back. You're going to have Chris Paul, even if he's not fully playing, because Chris Paul will miss some games. You still have him there as a veteran presence. And of course, Mitch Johnson's done a great job so far. He is a good voice in the locker room, but there's nothing else like Pop. And when Pop comes back, you've got this full unit of players at his disposal. Wemby's growing, Castle's growing, Vassell's healthy, Sochan's healthy. This team, there's no reason why 44-38 and an 8 seed is not on the board. That's what I predicted. That's what I'm sticking with. That's what's going to happen for this Spurs team. But let me know what you guys think about the alien reaching another historic mark. Do you think it's something? Do you think it's nothing? Do you think it's just more of the same because he's going to be doing this throughout his entire career? Or is this something that needs to be celebrated? For me, I think all of these feats need to be celebrated because even though we think and we thought he was going to be at a certain level, when you reach higher heights than that, I think you just have to applaud it. We all knew LeBron was going to be a generational talent. We all knew that LeBron was going to be one of the all-time greats. He's exceeded his own expectations, and he had higher expectations than anybody. Victor Wembanyama is probably honestly second in expectations for somebody who has come into the league already. I mean, people were talking like if he's not top 15, is it an not an embarrassment, but is it a disappointing career? He's on his way by breaking records and doing crazy things like 5x5 games, like getting into that 1,700, 800, 300 club of 6 other players, multiple Hall of Famers. Let me know what you guys think there in the comments. But this has been Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. I appreciate all of you guys, and I will be seeing you guys very soon.